All right, folks, joining us now is Larry Elder, radio host, Newsmax contributor, and best-selling author of Dear Father, Dear Son, 2 Lives, 8 Hours. And Larry, welcome back. A couple of things I want to talk to you about, and one has to deal with the Congressional Black Caucus. And the Congressional Black Caucus is now warning or telling Benjamin Netanyahu, in effect, respect our president, or don't disrespect our president, and they're threatening to either not show up or walk out of Netanyahu's speech. The specter of having almost every black member of Congress, certainly every member on the Democrat side, stand up and walk out when the Prime Minister of Israel starts speaking, I can't even imagine that.
Well, it's not good, Steve, and this is a theme that's been permeating his whole administration for all of 6 years. Members of the Congressional Black Caucus believe that when you disagree with President Obama, whether it's on Obamacare, whether it's on climate change, whether it's on Trayvon Martin, the real reason you're disagreeing with him, or the severity of your disagreement, is because he's black. Now, this is believed in varying levels of sincerity by some people, but I think it's also a ruse. I heard Eric Holder say the same thing. The criticism of Obama is largely driven because he's black. So that's part of it. The other part is this. In the last Hamas-Israel war, you look at the polling data, and blacks were as likely to identify with the Palestinians as they were to identify with the Israelis. And finally, Steve, you have an undercurrent of friction between blacks and Jews that have gone along for a long period of time. Part of it is because of the perception that Jewish landlords mistreated blacks and Jewish store owners mistreated blacks by selling substandard merchandise. And part of it is just simple ignorance, and part of it is anti-Semitism. In the black community, while most blacks are not anti-Semitic, the anti-Semitic rate is about three times higher than in the non-black Gentile population, for reasons that have a lot to do with history.
And of course, you have the president who sat there the other day, and it was doubled down by his spokesperson, and also Jen Psaki at the State Department yesterday, much to the chagrin of three very fine reporters who couldn't understand. The president saying that the attack on the kosher market in France was a random act of just shooting people, and the explanation given by Josh Earnest was, well, they didn't call out these victims by name. When did terrorists call out victims by name?
That was one of the most absurd excuses I have ever heard. The point is that Obama believes that the war on terror has been exaggerated, that we basically took a stick and poked it into this hornet's nest with the war in Iraq, and had we not done that, the Muslims would not nearly be as angry with us. We lower our profile, don't overreact, and maybe things will get better. That's Obama's approach.
And another issue here, Larry, that I think is very troubling. We know Obama met with Muslim leaders. They wouldn't release the guest list at first, et cetera. And then shortly thereafter, he made the reference, by the way, to the Crusades. And I wonder if he got the tip to do that from these Muslim leaders. But now we have a report that a Muslim Brotherhood representative who was formerly from Egypt says that a White House official met with him and other people at a State Department meeting. The infiltration of the Muslim Brotherhood into every one of our important agencies in this country is frightening.
It is, and the State Department initially said, well, this was a meeting that was sponsored by Georgetown University. Turned out that wasn't the case. Again, the White House has met either privately or under the table many times with people that, in my opinion, are either terrorists or have very severe ties with terrorism. And the argument is, well, we're trying to meet with all sides to have an understanding. But what you're doing by doing that is legitimizing groups like the Muslim Brotherhood that supports groups that are on our official state list of terrorism, like Hamas and Hezbollah. We are giving these people credibility. I thought we were at war against radical Islam. Even the president of Egypt criticized the meeting that Obama had with the Muslim Brotherhood leader. Come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing here is a good question. And of course, we have a national security advisor in the form of Susan Rice and a president who think that climate change, quote unquote, is more of a threat to this country, and said as much, than terrorism.
That's right. She gave a speech recently, and she said just that very thing, and we have to not overreact. She said we have to make sure that we respond in a measured fashion. Meanwhile, these people occupy more territory than the Al-Qaeda under the Taliban in Afghanistan. They're recruiting more people than we're killing, I understand, and it's only metastasizing. And if they are a legitimate threat to the homeland, why are we outsourcing the war? Shouldn't we be putting boots on the ground and making sure that this thing has an outcome that we can have a stake in?
Yeah,
Come
well,
on.
you know, Jordan is going to save us all. Hey, Larry, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you very much.
You too, Steve. Thank you.
All right, folks. Up next, we take a look at the trial of the American Sniper trial. Don't go away.